Good morning. Today we got some photos to take, so I'm going to teach you guys a couple little tricks here that I like to do so that you can spice up your daily carry photos as well. So the first thing you're going to need is your subject. And usually your subject, since you're watching a yo-yo channel, this is for yo-yo pictures, going to be a yo-yo. This works for any sort of product you want to show off. You want to show off a knife, works for a knife. But we're going to use a yo-yo. Here's just some of mine. Let's just grab one for this photo. Let's do the reverse rainbow road covey. Who's a good boy? And then we'll get it set up in the light box. You don't need a light box. You do need like a nice window for a light source. You want the light showing on the face of the yo-yo you're shooting. So if you're shooting from this light source, this window, you'd put the camera in between. I'd be your subject, so you can get the nice light on the yo-yo. We're doing the light box, so we don't have to worry about that as much. And then the main reason I'm taking these photos is for the accessories that are going up on the site. So I need to grab those. Here we go. New yo-yo smell. So we've got a bunch of these going up. I guess I got one that's already open. And it's in here. It's nice. Just new yo-yo smell, G squared yo-yos. You'll be able to get that. We need that capsule. Last capsules we have the aluminum, just clear, clean, the logo on top. I was thinking about some artist edition capsules for the future, but I don't want to jump ahead. That was just off the top of my mind. Sorry. Back to taking the photo. And then bearings. So we'll get those set up, and then I'll get it all set up in the light box, and I'll kind of explain the process here of how you want to set this up. Okay, so we kind of have all our parts here, and we want to get set up. And now most people know the rule of thirds. Third of a line, third of a line. So there's two lines going horizontal, two lines going vertical. If this is your picture frame, 33%, 33%. So you kind of want to go dead middle, or you want to hit one of these third lines, whether it's a top third line, the bottom third line, one of the side ones. Depends on what you're shooting for. For this style photo, I like to do a diagonal shot from down here. I like the subject to be in the middle. If you got some sticky tack and a paper clip will work, or I use toothpicks. Sticky tack, toothpick, I kind of like to angle the yo-yo up. You're not going to see it because it's going to be hidden by the yo-yo, and it kind of just gives you a little better looking subject. So your subject's going to be in the middle. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all my extra stuff, since that's the stuff I'm actually promoting, letting you know all these extra items are ready. But then get a clean background. We're using this poster board. And then we've got, you see these trees. These are kind of what I want to discuss. You want something in the foreground, and hopefully, since I'm using this wood board, the greens of these fake trees kind of go well with it. I'm going to pull this off a little bit so that the tree's a little bit further away. But you can see it's at a diagonal. When I shoot this, I'm going to bring the camera down low. This is going to be just barely in the frame, out of focus. You're not going to know what it is. It's just going to have a little bit of green kind of out of frame. This is going to be more in focus, but not fully. Just the yo-yo is what we want in focus, the subject. And these kind of just let it pop and draw your eyes to the middle. You can do this with plenty of things. I like to do, a lot of the time, I like to have a little EDC item as this front piece that you just see a corner of. You don't necessarily see even what the whole item is, but it just kind of keeps the space from being blank and looks good. Back here, you can kind of mess around with what you have. Standing up cutting board could work. Really anything. If you don't need your backdrop to be right here on, like this is sitting on my board, I can pull this away, put the poster board up on the wall, pull this away, move this tree back if it ends up being too in focus, which is something you might have to do with your phone. Is this should be fine right about here when you're shooting down here. Just a little bit of this in the bottom right corner. This guy might need to be moved back so that it's out of focus. You don't know exactly what it is. It's kind of like a green shrub. You don't need to know it's just this fake plastic cheap plant. But you can do that with anything. I like to keep it in the same color family, sometimes the same theme. So I could have some camera lenses back here, maybe a camera body as this front piece. You don't necessarily know it's a camera body. You can kind of figure out if you look at it a lot, but it's still just going to be what's drawing your attention into the middle. So it could be, here's your knife, you got your wallet and stuff stacked back here, you got something that's kind of in theme with that, just back behind the item. And the item's going to be the main focus. Kind of scatter, you don't want too much. So this new yo-yo smell is really not going to work for this photo. But the bearings here can. They kind of just will look good spread out across the plate, across the template. The capsule, we can kind of actually, this is actually going to be the subject of my photo for a different photo. But you could kind of just have this guy spilled out. This could be the background of photos for an EDC, even something like that. You could have your knife, capsule in the background, bearings spilled out. They're out of focus. But I just kind of wanted to drive home the idea of you're shooting at an angle. This guy's in the middle, and you're kind of positioning your camera eye level with the subject, getting this out of focus, getting the background out of focus, but kind of keeping it all together in a theme. For this to work, kind of want that to show off the logo, but that's not going to quite work. We'll set these up back here. The bearings kind of spilling out of the capsule. Might be a perfect little segue, perfect setup for a product shot, letting you know the bearings are in stock again. The yo-yo smell could go right here. You won't really see the packaging. You'll just kind of see that corner. This might need to be up on here a little bit better for the way I'm going to shoot it. And I'm not sure exactly where this frame's going to end up, but I might want something else in this bottom left just to get rid of this block of blank space. I just wanted to bring you guys down here so you can see the angle we're going to be shooting at. So that's kind of ugly. That's not so bad. Yo-yo we're going to fix up and be posted something like this. And hopefully in photo mode, this guy might need to be brought back a little bit closer. You're not exactly going to see what that is once we do take the photo, hopefully. But that kind of looks good, like this positioning. Since I'm using a real DSLR mirrorless, I'm going to be able to blur out the background and the foreground. You might not be able to do it quite as much with your phone without using like a portrait mode or After Effects, Lightroom or something, Snapseed, adjusting the photo. Okay, so I do most of my editing on my phone. I've got a couple photos I liked. I'm going to pull them up in Lightroom for you. That's what I use to edit my photos. You can use Lightroom, Snapseed. And what we're going to do is then I'm just going to show you my editing process. So we're going to have two photos I ended up shooting. And then I'll show you what to go through. And then I'll give you a couple tips if you're shooting with your phone how to make your subject pop a little bit. Go ahead and hit this record button. Yes, 19%, I understand. So the first one is the one we had set up with you guys. You guys can see here, like you get a little bit of green in that front where that front branches were, the back branches. I don't love it since the poster board was falling backwards. Up and down on Instagram, you want like this 4x5. So we're going to zoom it in here so we don't get that warping on the poster board in the back. Center that yo-yo. Okay, I always try auto, just see what happens. Okay, it's a little bit, it's okay. It's a little bit out of focus on the front rim of that yo-yo. I needed to be a little bit higher f-stop. Let's use this contrast. You can kind of watch it. You don't want to overdo it. It kind of turns it into being like fakey. It doesn't look right. But a little bit goes a long way. Kind of looks good. Helps that subject pop a little bit. Highlights you might want to mess with and see. Shadows I always mess with to see where we're at, and blacks I usually darken. Okay, so that shadow underneath kind of is a little bit ugly, but we'll get through with it. Color looks good. overall. And then the effects, your clarity, this is going to help you pop your subject from your phone. You can kind of make it more pop, less pop. This kind of just makes the whole photo bad, but you can see what I mean. Don't go too far. So extra clear kind of tries to bring everything in. You can go either way. A little bit less clarity kind of blurs your background a little bit. Kind of blurs your subject as well, but you can mess with that depending on how sharp your subject is. And then the vignette kind of just rounds those corners a little bit. Don't go heavy. You do this, yeah, it kind of looks good. It brings you right into that subject, hides those corners, but it kind of also is just like a bad. I don't know how to describe it. So don't go too heavy. Less is more on some of these, and you're going to be tempted to really push them to the limit. Maybe sharpen it up a bit on that yo-yo. A little bit less highlight on that yo-yo. Okay. And overall, I think I'm pretty happy with that photo. Definitely could have been a little bit better with a little more proper setup. That tree in the background, it needed to be moved back. And then this tree in the foreground in the front needed to be moved forward as well, so it wasn't such a wide blurry patch of green. It kind of looks, this wide blurry patch of green is kind of ugly. I'd rather it not be there at all. It kind of looks like some sort of distortion issue. It doesn't look like something's in the foreground making that. But that one's good enough. We'll rock with that. Then this other one I set up for a wide angle, got rid of the trees, added some yo-yos in the corners, a knife, just to kind of show off a little bit better. Let's crop this in and see where we like it. I like it right there. As always, hit that auto. This, I'm going to add that contrast, shadows. Okay. Whites a little bit, and drop the highlight. I don't love the composition of this photo, but it'll do okay. I should have messed around with it more. It just looks kind of off, doesn't it? It needs something in that top right, I think, and then the centerpiece, that the top of the capsule just is sitting in a weird spot overall for the composition of this photo. But colors look good. Clarity, give it a little extra clarity. I like it with a little more here because I'm a little bit too blurred on the edges. And then a little tiny vignette and a little sharpening. And that'll do it for that. Those are what I ended up with, those two photos. Hopefully you guys learned something today as far as the angle when you're shooting stuff. Just gives you something better than the straight on, top down, which works. But even when you're selling stuff, if you present it nicely, it just ends up, you know, better. You're going to be able to sell something better if you can get some unique, good photos of it. So that's what we went through today. Hopefully you guys liked it. Those goodies will be up on the site at some point today. That's all I got for you. New bearings, new yo-yo smell, new capsule. The bearings are the Rage restock, and then the D bearing concave unlubed so that you can play your respawn unresponsive. Alright, have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, Monday, same place, same time.